Hi, NA, Jason William Mitchiner Galbraith, GAOMG. Just wanted to talk to you about all of the books that I've written on all of my ancestors that I wrote about my trilogies and my ancestors before I even knew who I am, and how they've really guided me to find out and discover who I am, my identity, all through them. This is a little flyer that I wrote when I wrote my first trilogy, and I was like pounding the streets of Manhattan. And this just talks about what I wrote here is that my ancestors that I've written about in my books, Full Moon Rising, Red Sea Divided, A Fallen King, all fought and suffered pursuing their dreams, just as I am doing right now to become the greatest author of my generation. And I wrote all that again before I even knew who I am and what I'm about. This news article really does a good job doing a little description. It says it was Mitchiner's father who gave him the idea for Full Moon Rising. He spoke to his son for the first time in 10 years when Mitchiner was 26 about the family's genealogy. I didn't know, and that was the last time I spoke to my biological father too. It was the first time in after a decade, and I've never spoken to him since. So he always told me about this person, Thomas William Mitchiner, that fought in the Civil War, was a California Gold Rush era, 1849, and he told me how proud he was to be named after him. And I kept asking him, well, who was before that, and who was before that? And the biological father was just like, well, it was there's a different name, and we're the best of the Mitchiners. We're the best of the Mitchiners, and that's all I ever knew. So it wasn't until 21st century, all of our technology that we were able to use, that I was able to find out a lot more about my ancestry. And this just covers who I am right here. Jason William Mitchiner, and this covers my biological father, and then the paternal line as it goes on, and that's his right here. That's who he was named after, and then it goes into this section where it's Best, and then it's Henry Best. So at a point, the name Mitchiner, I'm not a Mitchiner, and I'm not a Best. It was changed, the surname, and nobody knew why. And I couldn't find out or figure it out or anything until I started doing a lot more ancestry on that last name. But what I wrote about, again, without even knowing who I am, is just going on the word best, is I wrote my second book in my trilogy. I already did a name change, and I started to write about piracy. And I wrote in my second book, again, without even knowing that there was a name change and who I am, I wrote, your grandfather sailed under Captain Kidd, who threw out the seas as Captain William Kidd, and your grandfather was known as William the Wolfhound Mitchiner. My jaw dropped wide open as my father continued to speak. He changed our last name from Mitchiner to Best in order to rid his past from piracy and hopefully escape capture. And then my third book, which is the beginning of my trilogy, is all about Captain Kidd and William the Wolfhound Mitchiner sailing with him as a pirate. And when you see again in the genealogy, it goes from Mitchiner, which again is not my name, my surname, nor is it Best. But then when I looked up Mitchiner just for fun on the whole family tree DNA, which I just submitted on some amazing findings about myself, is that this does show that there was an Abel Mitchiner from Rhode Island who was a privateer pirate, depending on which side of the border you determine your point of view, in around 1673. So again, without me even knowing about there being a pirate, Mitchiner, I already wrote about it, and he sailed with Captain William Kidd, who is the most famous pirate from Scotland and from the kingdom of Strathclyde, which my ancestors are also from. So I wrote all of these trilogies and connected all of the names without me ever knowing who I really am. And I am finding out who I am now through DNA and through all the 21st century technology that we have. And right now they're analyzing my results. And when they do, I mean, I just got the email here. Is that hello, welcome to the Stewart DNA project. It'll take about 6 weeks for us to process your results. But when they do, you know, we will see if I'm actually a Stewart royalty. That's my surname. That's my blood. That's my DNA. So as soon as I find out, I'll go deeper into that. But the whole Mitchiner, changing the name from Mitchiner to Best, not even knowing that happened and that I wrote about that in my trilogy, and it's all written and everything I've done is documented. I never knew I was Scottish. You could see all of my clips on YouTube. I never knew this, and I'm discovering it now, but I wrote about it all before I knew it. And that is amazing. And I've been writing my second trilogy, writing all about Stewarts and everything, again, without ever knowing who I am. And the more I find out who I am, self-awareness is one of the most powerful attributes a human being can have. Can ask Muhammad Ali. Cheers.